Hey, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's right. It's Big Nate live in effect for the first time in so many years. Um, I've got to kind of keep it down because my son's trying to sleep. Uh, so I'm just trying to get a little test stream in here so I can see what I'm going, what's going on, check out the camera settings, stuff like that. So, um, yeah, go ahead and let's get rid of the music. We don't need the music anymore, do we? So I just wanted to say hello to everybody. You can go ahead and chat with me as best I can. And again, my name is Big Nate. This is the Big Nate Streaming Circus, and I'm trying to get back into it. I'm trying to get into the groove of what I once used to do as a streamer. Um, but instead of just doing games and stuff like that, I think I'm going to shy away from that for now. I'm going to do more of an editorial thing, talk about current events, talk to my guests, talk to my constituents. Um, so we talk about sports, entertainment, politics sometimes. Pretty much it's an open format for people to voice their opinions and have an open discussion. We're not here to offend anybody, but if we do offend you, then I'm sorry. Because this is my show and I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. So my opinions are going to dictate pretty much everything that goes on. If you don't like listening to me or you don't have an objection, um, at least an objectable side that you can cohabitate with somebody of a differing opinion, then this might not be this place or safe zone for you. Um, I'm not saying I'm anti anything right now, but I am definitely not as woke as some people. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm a little old school when it comes to certain things, and I really just don't give a shit about all this. Oh, you hurt my feelings. No, you know what? My feelings have been hurt my entire life. I'm a very large man. I've had my I've been the ridicule of many a jokes when it comes to being fat. So yeah, fat shaming. It doesn't bother me anymore. Now there was this one lady that was very aggressive the other day, and she called me a fat fucker. And it's not so much that she called me a fat fucker that she dismissed my intentions to get her to slow down in the parking lot so that she didn't run over anybody. I was taking one for the team, at least in my thought pattern. So, but if she's out there, I wish her well. I hope she has a better day. How about that? Fucking bitch. Um, yes, we do cuss on this program. I am not religiously affiliated in any way. I'm not agnostic and I'm not an atheist, but I do have my own viewpoints on religion and how your spirituality can help or detract from your lifestyle based solely on the fact that it takes you out of balance. You have to have some sort of spiritual connection with the universe. And if that's Christ or God or, Cthulhu, who doesn't matter to me. All right. The object or the image or the embodiment of your spirituality has no bearing on it at all. It's whether or not you have absolute faith in what you want to believe in. That's the only thing that matters to me. I mean, if you're convicted to the fact that you have these convictions for a certain belief, I'm perfectly okay with it, but don't come in here trying to sell your shit. All right. I mean, if you're happy with the lifestyle that you're living spiritually, great. I'm happy for you. If you're happy with the physical lifestyle that you're, presenting to the world abroad, awesome. I really applaud you. If mentally you are satisfied with your educational composition of your mental aptitude, balls on, man. I'm ready for it. So I live a pretty simple life. It's somewhat subdued compared to what I was when I was a youth. I'm not the perfect father. Never was I ever intending to be. I did the best I could with what I had. I was very resourceful uh, with what I had. And I'd made some mistakes, and it got me into some trouble. And we'll get into that later on. But um, I'm looking to try to make this into a vlog, video blog. They call it podcasting. It's vlog casting if you want to get technical, because you're actually seeing video of the person that's speaking, so you can see the inflections in their face. You can see the dichotomy that they're trying to process when they're talking to you on a camera. Which, it, for some people, they're more emboldened or empowered to not have that ability, to not have to be in front of a camera. Me, it doesn't matter to me. As long as it's working properly, that's all that really matters. I see myself in doing this and trying to get back into a vein. I've done podcasts before. I used to produce podcasts for people. I have a long library of stuff that I did rudimentarily at best. I mean, the technology has surpassed my ability. At least what it was working at the time, but that was over 10 years ago. So technology has advanced considerably in just the last decade. I'm not going to say that I'm a learned man, but I am a purveyor of education. I like to be educated on things. I like to be able to be in the now, the present, and the past and the future simultaneously, but with the right answers, or at least the right opinions on the answers that I believe in. So, and like I said, people are going to disagree with me on a ton of stuff. But I look at things very literally. I'm a logical thinker. I try to process them. I often say things without thinking about it sometimes. That's one of my biggest faults. But overall, I mean, it's just an ability of mine to just gab and have an open conversation with people. So, that being said, I can't get too excited. Like I said, I got to try to keep it down. This is one of my only days off this week, and I decided that I'm actually pretty tired, even though I may not look it right now. But like I said, this is just a somewhat of a test stream, trying to get things dialed in. So if you can hear me all right, then please let me know in the chat or a comment that you leave on the stream. This is a free service that I'm using right now called Restream, and you can set that up account for free. It does have a monthly subscription base if you wish to choose that to upgrade. Restream's not bad. They've got some competition out there, and I'm using this because I have it available and it's already set up. I may be making some changes in the future. Right now, I am streaming on my YouTube and my X account, which is formerly known as Twitter. I'm probably just always going to refer to it as Twitter. Elon, I appreciate X. I wish you would have rebranded it something else than just X. I mean, it almost feels like Prince becoming a symbol. If anybody remembers that. My name is Prince, the one and only. Current news. Let's see. Free agency in the NFL has occurred. The combine is now over. People are jockeying for position for the draft. People are trying to make decisions and re-sign players or get new players from other teams. There's been a lot of movement, and there's been some big numbers thrown around. So, me personally, I live in the Northwest, so Seattle's my team. Those are my guys. I do have some other favorite teams, like the Miami Dolphins. If you go all the way diagonally across the nation, from where we are, the Dolphins have a soft spot in my heart. Love Dan Marino as a quarterback. The whole Shula era was awesome growing up as a young kid getting into football. And actually have a former player of mine from, junior football. And I'm going to give a shout out to you, to Salvan Ahmed. He is playing for the Dolphins, just re-signed a 1-year contract with the Dolphins as a running back. So I'm all here for you, buddy. I hope that training camp and your spring stuff goes well. And I hope everything is set up. You just had that baby girl, take care of her, and you've got your son now and your wife, and all the best for you, man. Savon, you are always in my thoughts when it comes to where you're out there. You're a great individual for people to look at. You're a great story, especially from coming from Juanita. You were raised the right way, and you believe in what you believe, and I applaud you for everything that you were able to accomplish in your life. Um, so go get yours. That's all I gotta say. Um, let's see, political. Oh God. So we got two candidates. Yeah, we got the incumbent Joe Biden, and we've got the resurgent Donald Trump, who is now still facing prosecution, and whether or not he's guilty or not, that may or may not come before the election. So it's quite possible that we may be, electing a convict to the presidency. um, but if he becomes president, could he pardon himself from that litigation? I do not know the answer to that. So if you know the answer, please leave a comment in the show description, or post that comes up on Facebook or X or YouTube or whatever. But yeah, things are definitely going weird uh, with the political scene. Um, let's see. Oh, another friend of mine online is Jonah Loby. He's an artist, a digital artist, as well as a creator and designer of video game art and characters. But he's venturing out on his own, and taking a big chance. It's coming up here very soon in Kickstarter. He has a graphic novel that he's going to be producing, um, called Quiet Level 1. And I'm got a fan page group on Facebook dedicated to the fans of Jonah Loby, or it's fans of Quiet Level 1, basically. Um, and we talk about his stuff. He's also got some stuff like Patreon, but it's not Patreon. It's another thing. I'd have to look it up just to make sure what's going down there. Um, but I'm hoping that everybody uh, can get out there and do your thing, and maybe join us in our quest. So let's see, what else can we talk about? Um, I love comic books, so if you want to talk about comics, that's great. I don't have any current ones, so I'm kind of going off of my knowledge of all the stuff I used to collect when I was younger. But as far as Marvel, DC, all the other comic firms, Image, you name it, there's a lot out there to love. Movies, huge movie nerd. Love to watch movies, sometimes more than once. I guess my go-to favorite movie in sci-fi would be The Fifth Element. I just think it's a great love story, and it has Bruce Willis in it. And who doesn't love Bruce Willis, especially now that we'll never get to hear his voice again, ever. If you're wondering about this little blemish right here, I got hit in the face with a piece of bone at work. I'm a meat cutter, and I was having to cut up some bones for a lady who ordered some femur bones, and I don't know why they gave us femur bones, but we cut them up for her, and I'm hoping that she'll be able to come pick them up. But yeah, one of the pieces chipped off and it hit me in the face. I wasn't wearing a face guard. We normally don't. It's something that hardly ever happens, and it just just popped me in the face, and it left a little abrasion. And then, of course, I'm kind of a picker, so it got worse when I picked it. So I shaved it, and it got worse from shaving it, getting the hair off of it. But now I'm treating it, so hopefully it'll clear up in a week or so. We will be talking about health needs and wants occasionally. Uh, like I said, inflation. We all hate it. We don't want to see it. The environmental impact. Basically, anything goes with the Big Nate Streaming Circus. Big Nate Streaming Circus is here for you to give us more information. So we'll take your information, we'll add it to the pot, and we'll make a huge editorial stew out of it. So, but I'm pretty much an open book. So if you guys have any questions of me, please come to the Restream studio, leave something in the chat, and we'll go from there. But other than that, let's see what we got going on. Let's see. It says, oh, I guess I could start recording this, but I'm not going to. Save to the cloud. I don't think I get to do that unless I pay. So we're going to leave that alone for now. Let's check out some of these other features, though. They've got a caption feature here. Okay, yeah, yeah. And we don't need to do that. We get QRC. Let's see. Oh, wow. You can add those, huh? You can add a QRC code to your stream. Of course, there's lots of music. But this is great. This is working out well. I've changed the format to match your phone, so you can watch it on your phone if you'd like. Yeah, I will be bringing on some guests. Like I said, I'm into music as well. I had a podcast at one time called The Playlist. So the playlist was where I used to play and interview bands here for the Northwest, also from around the world. It was done in association with Rock Out ALS, which was a charity that I supported. And they would put on rock shows to bring awareness to Lou Gehrig's disease. And the creator of that organization, they basically had to stop doing it because it wasn't really taking, it doesn't mean it won't go. It's still out there. People still think about it, but it's not as active as it used to be. And I'm hoping someday to be able to bring it back to the fold again. But if you're listening to music, I've got some great friends that I'm hoping to get to interview again. And the dogs are in the background growling at one another. So, geez, 18 minutes already. Hey, you guys, stop it. Come here, Raven. Schechter, come here. So I have 3 dogs, German Shepherd, a Pit Bull, and a Mutt, Shiba Inu Pit Bull and Boxer mix. She came last year from Oklahoma. Right? Didn't you do that? Good girl. Anyway. But yeah, we're a dog family, and I got cats too, but they live in the bathroom because they like to pee and poop everywhere because they're a little antisocial. Anyway, if you've got any good video games, board games, if you like role playing, we're going to be talking about that kind of stuff. I know lots of different people and lots of different things. I am a former military person. So I was a Marine, and we like to talk about, the service people and what they do for the communities and what we can do to help them. My son was in the Air Force. It's unfortunate we lost one of our football teams here in the Northwest. The Sea Dragons are no longer the Sea Dragons because the UFL left them out, and I was quite upset about that. You can see that I'm wearing the Dragons shirt. See? Sea Dragons, Seattle Sea Dragons. And I had season tickets. I actually had 4 for the upcoming season, and they just went poof like a magic dragon. And they're no longer with us. So I'm kind of sad to hear that. And the way they handled that whole ordeal was not very professional, in my opinion. Rock, Dwayne Johnson, now that you're back wrestling for a little while between movies. Anyway. It's kind of weird how he wasn't in a movie that was going to get an Oscar, so he went back to wrestling during the Oscar season. I don't know if it was planned that way. I know that Vince McMahon's in some trouble. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, I think, is pretty much the face of the franchise now. Triple H. And it sounds like my son might be up. I probably woke him up. I'm sorry, Andrew. But I'm a grandfather. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a hardworking American male. Yes, I happen to be Caucasian, or in other words, white. But that doesn't hold me back, does it? No, because I'm not in a minority apparently. Um, though I've been called that I was privileged, and I didn't really feel very privileged at the time, especially because I was servicing a group of females from UW to go to a dinner party, and one of their group decided that she was going to instruct me of why I'm so privileged. And I was like, well, you guys are privileged. And they took offense to that. It's like, well, you're privileged at the fact that you had somebody that's willing to come pick your stupid asses up. And she got into it with me, and I kicked the whole party out and just canceled the ride. So, yeah, because I am in control of my Uberness, but I don't do it any longer because my van's busted. Um, there was a time I was working, 2 or 3 jobs. There was a time that I was unemployed. There was a time that I was a student. I'm still paying off those student loans. This next year is going to be very difficult. If you're an American, especially, I can't say it's not like if you're an Israeli or a Palestinian. Or we've got our own problems, but the problem is that we don't address our problems. We just keep pushing them to the side because something in the world needs to be addressed. I guess I should have air quoted more closer to the screen. Um, what can I say? The wars in the world are going to happen until people pull their heads out of their asses and stop pointing fingers and pointing guns and pointing missiles and pointing whatever else they want to point in the general direction of a person they don't see as a friendly nature. But I mean, we've got so many things that we need to fix in our country. Sending $165 billion in aid to Ukraine to keep the Russians off of the eastern side of the Europe, and nobody else in Europe really is doing much except for taking in refugees. I don't know what Putin has. I just don't know what he's smoking. I think he needs to feel relevant because he doesn't have an American to basically mess with, because he doesn't want to piss the U.S. off too much, or we'll stop sending foreign aid to him, which I think they've already done. So I don't know what he's planning to get out of it. But we need to all get to the table, and we all need to work together, and we all need to try to find a common ground, because if not, the world will be extinctified really quick. So, yeah, that's a thing, right? Instinctified. Man, let's go back to my other channel. Let's see if anybody's. Oh, yeah, new notification. Someone liked to comment on one of my posts. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Just hoping that everybody understands that there's a lot in the world that needs to be taken care of. And it's not going to happen overnight. We need to work at it. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that people are missing, is that they're not willing to work to get the job done. But yeah, who knows? I mean, the Big Nate Streaming Circus, I'm trying. I've got to just get on a regular schedule. I've got to try to make this thing happen, even if it's just for 30 minutes every day. That's typically what a podcast is starting out. A lot of people like to do a 1 hour format, and that's fine too, but that's a lot of talking when you're by yourself. 30 minutes seems about the right time. So if you guys need to get a hold of me, you can do so through my Facebook, which is Big Nate Streaming Circus. It's a page that I have on my main account. You can also find Big Nate Robbins on YouTube and also on X. And as I get more and more people interested, I'll start paying a monthly subscription. I'll start expanding my profile. reach. I'll have more of my channels auto logged in. Right now, I can only have 2. So when this ends, it'll post it to those pages, and hopefully I'll start getting some traction. Big shout out to one of my mentors, which is AWOL, Andrew F. Wall from Pensacola, Florida. Thank you so much. You are an amazing individual, and I've learned so much from you when I was your moderator back in the day, running SWOTOR, and just having the opportunity to finally have met you a couple of years ago when we took a trip down there in support of my son to take him his car. Yeah, I drove all the way across the country to Louisiana to drop a Camaro off to my son in the Air Force. That's the kind of parent I am. But it was a fun trip. I got to travel with the other Nate. We tried to do a show together, and it just didn't have the same magic when we're like together in the same room. But we're going to see what we can do to bring that back. The Nate show is something I would love to do. We had a really good branding session. So, Nate from 8 to 8, because he's an hour ahead of me. So if we started at his 8 o'clock and ended at my 8 o'clock, guess what? That's an hour. Yeah, that's pretty good. Huge shout out to BJ Shea. I'm glad you're at KZOK. I'm glad you're still in the Northwest, and I'm glad you're making a new radio station happen for yourself. I saw all your posts from the GamerCon down in Vegas that you went to. He's into board games. He loves board games, and he plays all the really crunchy board games. And I'm still trying to get into some of those. They take so long to play sometimes. But then again, I come from an RPG type background, so tabletop role playing, they take hours. In fact, I have a game tonight for Mutants and Masterminds. If you haven't ever heard of Mutants and Masterminds, it's a superhero themed game, and you basically run a trope in a campaign that's ran by a GM, and that's produced by Green Ronin Studios. And I'm hoping to be able to talk about them and have a show about just Green Ronin Studios eventually. Big shout out to Alex Thomas and Troy Hewitt and Steve Kinson. They're all the big push kind of guys that work for Green Ronin to keep the mantle alive and the light burning bright of Mutants and Masterminds. If you ever want to go to Mutants and Masterminds, you can also check out a show that they do Mondays, which is called Moo Mammo. And I'll put the hashtag in the chat. And Moo Mammo is basically a hour-long program that they do. Is it at 2 o'clock? I believe it's 2 o'clock Mondays, typically. But Alex Thomas is supposed to have his GM session type thing up at his page. And then they also do Thursday, which is like Thursday. They do an Age, because Age is the other system that they support for Green Ronin. And that's put on by Troy Hewitt as well, or the disembodied Troy. But big shout out to all of my gamers out there. Big shout out to all of my video gamers out there. Big, huge shout out to all of my sports fans. I know baseball season's around the corner. I'm not a huge baseball guy. I mean, I follow it, but I'm not going to get into the X's and O's of baseball. I'm more of a football guy. The NBA can suck my ass until my Sonics come back to Seattle, and then I will be on board. But other than that, Starbucks can suck my ass for selling them to Oklahoma City. So, yeah, that's a huge pill for me to swallow. I mean, I grew up during the era where they were, making the run. My grandfather is one of the first gifts he ever gave me. When I met him was a Sonics t-shirt. Wore it until it fell off my back. So, look, the world is a really deep and dark place at times, and I'm just wanting to be a guy who brings a little light to the table. Okay, maybe a lot of light to the table. But we're going to make this happen. We're going to see if about having this every week, at least for a little bit. And, at least 15, 20 minutes a session is what my minimum is going to be. I'm going to try to go to at least 30. And if I can get a couple of guests on and do some talking and get lost in conversation, then there'll be an hour-long episode. But the Big Nate Streaming Circus is here. Like I said, it's going to be a 3-ring, extravaganza of me just making shit up. No, of me just retorting the editorials of the day. I'm not talking like weather and traffic. I'm talking about deep hitting issues like, when do you want to use your hero points in a game of Mutants and Mastermind? Okay. We've talked about cars. We can talk about music. Like I said, travel. Have you traveled? Have you been to another country? These are things that we need to know about each other. I'm building a community. So come on in, get a ticket, take a ride on the Nate train, and guess what? Nobody leaves. Everybody always stays on the Nate train. Just people don't get on it very much because it's a little bit of a bumpy ride, if you get what I'm saying. So, look, people either get me or they don't. The people that know me, they love me. And the people that don't get to know me, well, they usually don't like me very much because I'm a little gregarious. But it is what it is, my friends. And I hate to say it, but it's time to go. So I'm going to lead us out in a little bit of music, a little bit of something, and we'll go from there. But until next time, I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, and thank you for listening to Big Nate Streaming Circus.